Hi, good afternoon. So today we're going to go over a concept from the ACT math exam, which is average value. So this should be or I guess relatively familiar to all of us already who have studied average value or kind of the mean and median and mode in school for a number of years. All right, so we should all be quite familiar with the formula on your screen, right, which is the formula for calculating the average value of a set of terms, right, or some numbers. All right, so we've got the total kind of sum up here in the numerator, and then the denominator, we've got the number of terms in that set, right? So this is something that we've all worked with before, and we should all be able to calculate simple average questions by finding the average value of a set of terms, okay? All we have to do is to use that formula. But what happens if we have a slightly more difficult question, okay? Because sometimes on the ACT exam, we'll be given a slightly trickier question where we'll need to incorporate some other skills, particularly when it comes to word problems, in order to help us answer the question. Okay, so to illustrate what I mean, we have an example on the next slide. Okay, so this is an example of a slightly more difficult ACT average value question. All right, on Friday, Mr. Pickering sophomore math class took an exam and achieved an average score of 83. Three students who were absent on Friday took a makeup exam on Monday. Once these students' scores were computed, the class average dropped to 80. If the average scores of the three absent students was 54, how many students took the exam on Friday? Okay, so when we see things like achieve an average score of 83, and if the average scores of the three absent students were 54, okay, we know that we'll most likely have to use the average formula because this is most likely a question to do with average value. Okay, so if we know that, right, what we can do is we can start kind of looking at the question and seeing if there's any useful information, anything that we can translate into an operation or formula or some kind of useful mathematical kind of variable, right? So let's start with kind of the gist of the question here, right? Because they want us to find out how many students took the exam on Friday. Okay, at the moment this is an unknown. Okay, we don't know how many students there are, but what we can do is that we can let this unknown number be a variable. Okay, and what that means is that we can let the number of Friday students equal to x. Okay, so Friday students equal to x. Okay, apologies for the occasional sloppy handwriting. Okay, so this says Friday. We're going to let this equal to x. Okay, what else do we know about these Friday students? We know they took an exam. They achieved an average score of 83. Okay, so their average score was 83. Okay, so what do we know? What else do we know about these Friday students, even if we don't look at this question, right? If we use the average formula, we can actually derive the total score if we think about it, right? Because we have the average score, okay? The average score is 83. We have the number of students, okay? Even though we don't know the exact number, we're letting it kind of equal to this unknown variable x, right? So if we look at this formula, okay, if we want to find the total score, we just need to kind of move the number of terms, in other words, the number of students, over to this side, right, to the average score. Okay, if we can rearrange this formula in this way, we can derive the total score, in this case, the sigma of all terms, right? We can derive the total score using what information we have. So in other words, we actually even know the total score. So the total score of these Friday students is actually 83x. Okay, so yeah, all right, so we're kind of putting together a lot of information based on the question. Okay, but we don't have everything we need to answer the question, right? Because what we have right now still won't let us determine what x is. So let's continue looking at the question. Okay, so what else do we know? Okay, so there were three students who were absent. Okay, so they were absent on Friday and they took a makeup exam on Monday, right? So we know that there were three absent Monday students, right? That's what we'll call them, the absent Monday students. Okay, so there were three of them. Okay, Monday students. Okay, there were three of them. Okay, what else do we know? Okay, so once these student scores were computed, the class average dropped to 80. Okay, so notice how it says the class average, okay? It's not the average of those Monday students, it's the class average, all right? So we'll save that information for later on, okay? We'll just say at the moment, so class average. Okay, so that equals to 80. Okay, and then so then we also know that the average score for the 3 absent students was 54. Okay, so that's another piece of valuable information. Okay, so average score is 54. Okay, and again, we can use the same trick that we did earlier, right? We can use that to find a total score. Okay, if we multiply the average score by number of students, so again, right, 54 multiplied by 3, that equals 262. All right, okay, so actually now we have this kind of big load of information. And what we can do is we can kind of try and put it all together into this average formula again, right? But instead of kind of using this average formula to kind of rearrange this information about Friday and Monday students, let's use the average formula to kind of incorporate both the information from the Friday students and the information from the Monday students. What do I mean? Well, let's start with this information that we have here, right? That the class average is equal to 80. We can put that into this part of the formula. Okay, so we can say that the class average is equal to 80. Okay, and then to complete this formula, right, we need to find the total score of the class, right? Right now the class has been separated into Friday students and Monday students, but we have the total score for both, right? The total score for the Friday students was 83x, okay, and the total score for the Monday students was 162. And if we add them together, then we have the total score for the entire class. Okay, so that's the total score. All right, so you see what I've done there? I've just added the Friday students' total score and the Monday students' total score. That gave me the total score of the whole class. We can do the same thing for the number of students, right? We have the number of students from Friday, X. We have the number of students from Monday, 3. Okay, if we add them together, we have all the students for this class. Okay, so now we have this formula, right? And now things are looking a lot better, okay? Because all we need to do with this question, the very heart of this question is essentially finding x, right? Because we need to know how many students took the exam on Friday. Right now we're representing as x, but we need to find the actual number. And we can do that now with this formula, right? Because all we need to do now is 80x plus 3. Remove the x to 3 to the other side. Okay, and then that gives us 80x plus 240. Make this a bit neater. Okay, 83x plus 162. Okay, and then that will give us 3x equals 2. Let's see, that should be 78. My math doesn't fail me. Yep, 78. All right, and then so there, from there on, we just divide both sides by 3. And that should give us, if I'm not, that should be 26. Let's do a quick check to make sure I'm right. Okay, 78 divided by 3. Yep, okay, so that is 26. Okay, so that's our final answer there. Okay, so you see how, this kind of tricky word problem, okay, it is an average value question, but we also need some other skills, such as kind of how to translate words into operations, how to translate words into equations, and of course, we need some kind of strategy for approaching the word for these kind of wordy questions and how to kind of extract information from them. Okay, so that's all we have for this video. All right, so thank you very much for watching. If you have any test prep needs or if you have any questions about the ACT or the SAT or any other exam, feel free to drop us an email or feel free to call us. We're always happy to help. All right, so thank you very much and have a great day.